I've talked about this before in previous videos, but I wanted to make a video more centered around this. So, when I kind of became more aware of politics and racial issues, I was going on subreddits and forums like Asian Identity, which is a pro-Asian subreddit that has some problematic aspects, namely misogyny and racism. And I would get attacked a lot for having a white father. And there would be comments like insulting me and saying, oh, it's because of your white genes, or we need the one drop rule to keep out mixed race people like you, and your parents are like, your mother is a STD riddled Lou. That's a Lou is like the equivalent to a woman race traitor. So this idea, and I see this a lot, where a white man in a relationship with other races of women, right? And they'll get attacked a lot. And I've seen it happen in real life. I've seen it a lot online. And it happens the other way too. A white woman with, let's say, an Asian man or a black man will get attacked, right? And these are two sides of the same coin. So, racists, yes, like, look, we can say that this is a talking point I talk a lot about, that there is a double standard in America where Asian women have been fetishized as sexual, subservient, like housemaid type objects, and Asian men have been desexualized as like mechanical kung fu nerds or weaklings. And this is a lot to do, like I've talked about the small penis thing, and then the tighter vagina. Asian women have tighter vaginas and they love white men. So we can see that, and especially like it's tough to see when there's Asian women who, like, I've seen a TikTok recently. I made a short where this woman's like, come do your makeup with me and let's talk about Korean men and how horrible they are and they suck at sex and blah, blah, blah. So seeing, like, going to forums like Asian Identity, it's like so much hate gets directed towards Asian women like that, who really prop up these stereotypes and contribute to white supremacist ideals, which is what white racist people want, right? And then you realize, like, the flip side seems to be, like, let's say Asian Identity. It's all like there was more blatant subreddits like Golden Truth and Eastern Sun Rising, where they were pushing out propaganda like, oh, mixed race, so Hapa kids who have white fathers and Asian mothers are ugly and stupid. But if you have an Asian father and a white mother, then you're going to be like, you know, handsome and good looking, whatever, and smart. So you realize, like, this is the same kind of person as the Asian woman who's saying all Asian men are bad and white guys are great, and then the white guys who are like, oh yeah, Asian guys have little dicks, and you know, Asian women love white men. And then these Asian guys who are saying this kind of stuff, like, they're really just as racist. And yeah, we can talk about things like white imperialism and colonialism in the world and how this shaped racial dynamics around the world. And this led to the disenfranchisement, even in sexual politics, of Asian men in America. Like, we can talk about these things, but and try to correct these wrongs, but to feed into the other side, like, interminority racism exists. Minorities can be just as toxic and racist, and what realizing that fact and what they want in putting the same stereotypes that they've received onto white people. It's not true equality that they want. They want the power that they have seen that white people have, and they want that imbalance of power for themselves. They simply want to take the same racist hierarchy, racist patriarchy that exists, except reverse it so that white people are in their place instead. That's it. And it's not really improving the human race. It's just the same thing, except they receive the benefits of the patriarchy. And I've said this a lot, like patriarchal racial dominance, it's really a self-destructive thing because we don't live in a vacuum. We do live in a globalized environment where people are interacting with each other. Let's say a rich white man benefits through power dynamics right now. This is happening around the world. Look at what's happening in recent times. We're seeing a huge resentment in society. Like there's the Me Too movement. There's Black Lives Matter. There's people like me who speak out about Asian issues. There's this huge rebellion that's happening. And what do you think that's probably making a lot of white people nervous, which is why we're seeing an upsurge and they're doubling down on white defensiveness and becoming gravitating more towards white nationalism. And like I've said before, with fascist, hyper-violent, aggressive ideologies, there's always infighting. It may benefit in some temporary sense to be, the top of the patriarchy, but it doesn't in any long-term and lasting and real sense. It's a very hyper-aggressive, infighting, violent social structure that relies on dominance. And as soon as you step out of line, as soon as your authority and power is challenged, it devours itself. It's a barbaric, savage way to live. So these people, I was flipping through shorts. I saw Ray William Johnson talk about this white guy with I'm assuming she was Indian. She had brown skin, and they are getting married, and they were talking together, and all these comments, and someone on TikTok stitched them, and he's a brown guy, oh, she can't be dating a white guy, blah blah blah. That's very different than saying oh, that woman who, or let's say an Asian woman who's I don't date Asian guys because they all have small penises, right? We can see that that's blatantly she's trying to gain upward social mobility by bashing her own race, bootlicking to the white supremacist hierarchy, right? That's very different than, let's say in that couple's case, she grew up with a healthy perception of her race, and she advocates for her race. She recognizes that people within her own race are great potential dating partners on equal footing as everyone else. It's very different. Do you see? One hates their own race, and one is just open. That's the difference. So people who assume that people who date outside of their race are race traitors or whatever, I'm mixed race, but I present as people, I present as Asian. So, and I've dated all races. I'm open to everyone. And right now my partner is also mixed race, but presents as white. So this double standard of men can date outside their race, but women can't, or the other way around, or whatever. Just mix it up. Be open to every race. There's so many beautiful people, so many great people all around the world. Don't hate people just because they're color of their skin. That's so backwards and stupid. So, things to think about.